Running fans, jumping fans, throwing fans, all around athletics fans, welcome to Talking in Ovals. How is everybody doing out there on this Monday, November 3rd, 2025, episode number 164? Hyatt, what did you dress up as for Halloween this year? Did you get a lot of candy this year?
I dressed up as Dave Hyatt, age 47-year-old. No, I didn't.
Absolute stud.
Well, my daughters, they were at their mom's house, so I didn't
Okay.
really. And we kind of live on a dead end street, so there's
Gotcha.
a lot of candy left over, which is not good for my physique. But but I'm enjoying it. So 2 weeks we haven't been here, and I feel like we
Yes.
missed so many things in this.
It's crazy.
It's
It
nuts.
feels like it's been forever. It sucks when we have to miss time, but these things happen.
Yeah, man.
These things happen where we have some difficulties, and I hope that absence has made the heart grow fonder, and that more people want to be here. So, as always, wherever you're watching from, we appreciate it. Whether it's X, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, or Kick. Make sure you like, share, follow, subscribe to all your good stuff. And if you're listening to this later via podcast form, which I finally have all the episodes up on podcast, which I'm proud of myself now, and I will try to keep up with it again. Promoting, I haven't been doing well, but one thing at a time, damn it. But we appreciate it all. Make sure you give us all the follows and spread this word of mouth. That's the most important thing. Anyone that you know, like we're in indoor season right now, tell your teammates, be like, hey, if you don't want to listen to a podcast, you can watch these goofballs on YouTube. Just ignore the goofy hosts. The guests are always awesome. So that's all you guys have to do. So we'd appreciate that. Last week we had a fun show, or 2 weeks now. 2 weeks ago, we had a fun show. We had Diane D'Oliveira on the show, founder and president of Bella in Motion. And just what a drive she has to just do her thing, not care, not listen, not, and just create something that is now a staple, and definitely in Jersey, and from where we are, and now becoming a staple
nationwide,
running around the world, around the nation at least. So
it's
good for Diane.
Such a great place for women to go to run with other women, and just like she said, they have some elite runners, or they have people who just want to get together, just hang out and just talk, which is awesome.
Yeah. So it's really good. And if you are a young lady in the young lady, mom, anything in the Ocean County area, and you want to run, and you want to run with a great group of ladies that relate to you in every which way, because they're basically all moms. Get in contact with Diane, Bella in Motion. Doesn't matter what level you're at. She'll coach you. They'll be around you. They'll talk to you. It's a sisterhood over there. So definitely go do it. If you're a guy, stay away. Not allowed. Not allowed. Bad. But all right. So I want to bring in our guest for this week before we do any of our PRs and stuff, because there are times, Dave, where when we started doing this podcast, we kind of didn't know exactly what we wanted to do. And then we wanted to bring in guests. And there's times where you just realize sometimes how friggin' cool it is what we do.
It's unbelievable.
Because it's not every day where you're going to say that you get to speak to a human who was able to call himself the fastest person on the planet. Bar none. Out of billions of people, there was nobody faster. So let's bring him in. We are pumped to have him on. He is Mr. Steve Williams. As I said, one of the fastest men on the planet, and the fastest man at one point in the 1970s, and the author of his memoir, Always Speeding. Steve, what's going on, brother?
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We appreciate it. So we always like to bring our guests in. So one thing we do before we get into the meat and potatoes of the show is we like to give shout outs to anyone that has a personal best, a personal record. We love to have coaches send them to us. And we've had one faithful coach that sends us the PRs every single week. Coach Tom Figueroa out of Michigan from the Red Arrow Track Club. He sends them to us, and I've decided always to bring our guests in because, number one, I don't want you sitting back there for 10 minutes. That's mean. And number two, I always love to get some commentary from the guests as they're here in these PRs. So without further ado, let's jump into some right here because, like I said, Coach Figueroa always bringing it over here. So this was from now 2 weeks ago, and he says, "Good morning, gentlemen. This week, we're regionals in Portage, Michigan. Varsity running in the regionals race, JV running in the prom, post regional open meet. I like that they call it prom. That's awesome.
That is cool.
So let's get to some regional PRs, both of them ladies. 10th grader Grace Lehman running a 19:34.47, and 11th grader Annika Van Buren running a 22:08.32. So awesome job for both of them. Some great times. And then from the proms, we have all the gentlemen there. So
boy.
Braden Shue, 17:45.43. Nice job. 9th grader Clark Stevens, 19:03.45. And we have been tracking something. And Steve, you will appreciate this. Senior Alex Scott ran a 24:20.96 5K. Now, the caveat for this, Steve, you might be sitting there thinking, why are we celebrating this, right? Steve, he's a 100-meter, 200-meter runner, 60-meter runner.
But he's running cross country to better himself.
Got into the 24s, so we have been tracking Alex. This is his last race running XC as a senior.
He was around 30 to a start, so he just keeps getting. So he's not just running it; he's like taking it seriously because he knows that that any kind of strength base is a good for any runner. So
what is your opinion on the sprinter getting in there and going sub 25 in the 5K?
My high school coach forced me to run cross country. I ran cross country at Van Cortland's famous park.
Ooh, those back hills.
That's a tough course, man. That's a tough one.
Oh, no.
Right. I have the ultimate sprinter confession. If you know that course, you know you get to a bridge over the highway.
Oh, I know where he's going with
this. My junior year, not taking it seriously, I used to hide behind the bridge.
Typical sprinter running cross country. Yep.
And wait for the rest of the crowd to come. I would come in at the back. I wouldn't join in the pack. I'd come in the back. I had another teammate with me, Derek. He and I used to do the same. And I used to come up in the back and finish, okay?
Hey.
Then as a senior, I took it more serious.
Yep.
And I was running, and I saw this very famous black distance runner, Dennis Fikes.
Oh, yes.
And Dennis Fikes had almost a course record. And he used to run up and down. He ran it 2 times, and I'm going through it once. I followed him up to a very famous area on Van Cortland Park called Cemetery Hill.
Yep. Cemetery.
And, I'm buried up there.
There's a lot of people buried up there. There's a lot of distance.
I'm buried up there.
Buried up
there.
So,
Cemetery Hill has taken many.
I'm proud of the sprinter, that he's even got a time on the board in the cross country.
Almost a 6-minute improvement for him. Like we said, he started in the 30s, now down to 24:20. He will always say he was sub 25 in the 5K. And I'm looking forward now to seeing Alex's big PRs all throughout indoor. I'm excited to see the 60-meter to 200 PRs and things like that. Hoping that strength translates towards the finishing races.
Maybe now that he has some strength, maybe he bumps up to the 4. Who knows?
Don't torture the man. Don't torture the man on the track. Just let him do he paid his penance in XC. Let him do the 60 and the 200 in peace. Okay? Leave him alone.
Nope. You got to be all-terrain sprinter. You got to run from the 60 to the 400, okay? My proudest is that I was under 20 world record holder, 400 meters and 440 yards. Woo. I ran 45.2 at 18 years old.
Wow.
440 yards, which translated to 44.9.
Yep. It's about 0.3.
Yep. 400 meter mark.
Yep.
There was in 1975, when Don Quarry and I broke Tommy Smith's record.
Wow. I
wound up getting the 3-event sprint at top spot. I had 9.9, 19.9, and 44.9. As for the 3, the 3 sprint, the trifecta. And I took that from Tommy Smith, and I was very proud of that.
Absolutely.
Very proud of that. And I also was national champion in the 60. I was national champion in the 60 yards, 100 yards, 100 meters, and 220-yard dash. So I believe that you're supposed to have it all. You know, you're supposed to
Yeah.
have it all. You're supposed to bring it.
Sorry, Alex. Steve has spoken. You're running some fours, brother. I'm sorry, man. Steve has spoken, so you're running some fours. So that's the end of you right there. So I want to jump back because we had to give a shout out to a friend of the program's athlete, Dave. I did find the picture that you were asking me to find. Dave, go ahead, give us a shout out over here.
Just want to give a nice shout out to Manalapan senior Michael Black. He's committed to Monmouth University. He's having a great fall so far, and I mean, we got groups and mid champs coming up, and he's a huge cog in that great team that they have over there at Manalapan, and I'm just excited for him. I know his coach Brian and Bob Andrews are super excited for this choice. It's a great program, and I just think that he's going to add so much to them. And Michael, congrats, buddy! Awesome job.
And whoever did the graphic, pretty sweet graphic. I like that.
Yeah, that is nice.
It was nice. Yeah, congrats, Michael. We're supporting you here. We absolutely support Manalapan. Brian's awesome over there, so they do great stuff. So I also want to bring up right here, real quick, because the topic here, Always Speeding, Memoirs of the World's Fastest Human by none other than our guest over here. So I want everybody to go and make sure that you go and pick up this book. Doesn't matter how you do, whether it's paperback or whatever it is, go pick it up, please. Now, Steve, what went into you deciding to write this?
Yes.
I graduated from San Diego State in a degree in telecommunication and film. When I retired from running in '84, I decided I wanted to tell the story. But I didn't think it was because I was in film, I wrote a script.
I love that.
I wrote a buddy film because that's what was going on back then in the mid-1980s, Miami Vice, and then you had North Dallas 40 as movies where there were buddies.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a buddy film where I took Steve Prefontaine as the character, as a distance runner.
Yep.
And me as a sprinter, and I made a buddy movie.
Why was this never made? This is amazing.
It's you know how hard it is. If we be here all day on me trying to tell you about how I try to get that made, and I told the story. I put all the different aspects of track in a revealing fashion. I wanted to make it like North Dallas 40. North Dallas 40 really exposed, if you saw that movie, the NFL.
Yep.
And I wanted to tell some of the drama involved. So I did that. I had a 200-page script that I had written with my father-in-law, Lou Robinson, who was a writer. And I tried to shop the film, and it was a difficult task. To tell you the fun part, I sat with Bill Cosby for 4 weeks in a row at his show, talking about trying to get this movie made. And Bill had written a script about a 40-year-old guy making the last position in the mile relay at the Olympic trials.
Yeah.
He brings out a script that is so old. He wrote it right after his I Spy days. And he was so proud to show me this script about track. And he led me around to a couple of places, but it's very hard to greenlight a film. So I let it go. And then my sister passed away in end of 2013. And so I thought I should just write the story.
I like that. And, and for those that don't know, Bill Cosby's Bill Cosby, whatever has happened to him, this and that. But Bill Cosby was a very prominent member of the track and field community.
Oh, yeah.
A monster over at Temple. Very good athlete at Temple in both football and track and field. And if you went to the Penn Relays,
he was there
for about 20 years. It was one of the biggest things to go there and have the baton when you're getting up there. If you're in one of the championship races of America, to have Bill Cosby hand you that Penn Relay baton, it was one of the coolest things.
It was amazing.
It was, there are thousands, hundreds of kids that can say they got to meet Bill Cosby, and
I'm one of them.
Genuinely, he was interested in the sport. He loved track and field, and he was at the time was a great ambassador for it.
Yep.
Bill Cosby was a track man.
Yes.
Period. Okay? Yep. Period. He loved it. He put his money behind it. 10 relays, he paid and brought teams in. Bill was very important on that, notwithstanding whatever fandangos came later. So that's how I got to writing the book. I just felt that I had stuff. There was a the most famous documentarian in Olympic sports was Bud Greenspan.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Bud Greenspan's office was on 52nd Street, Madison Avenue. I used to sit and drink iced coffee with Bud Greenspan. And Bud used to tell me, Steve, stop messing around. Write the story. Don't be trying to placate Hollywood with a buddy film, you and Prefontaine, black and white, all of that. He said, just write the story. Because Bud was that kind of guy. He was a guy who wanted you to hear the truth about the sport. So, like I said, I had some interesting inputs. I had a trip to London on some other business, and I pitched it to the BBC. And Chariots of Fire had just, created its big stir. Yep. So when I was with the BBC trying to pitch it to them, I thought I had a chance because it was a genre that they had just found some cinematic success.
Sure.
But, it's very hard to greenlight a movie. Very hard.
I think if you want to go back and revisit that, one of our former guests, Dave Waddle, I feel like would be someone to fill in for Steve, because Dave, obviously Steve Prefontaine passed away a long time ago, but Dave's alive. So Dave could probably give you a whole bunch of other stories and a whole different plethora from the distance viewpoint to truly make it buddy.
But Prefontaine, God bless his soul, that's in my book. I talk so much. I talk about him in the book. He and I traveled together. We traveled the world.
I didn't know that you guys were that. Okay.
We got drunk together in Torino. We fell asleep on each other on the train all over Italy. And he was a colorful guy. Not saying that Dave is not, but Prefontaine was a colorful guy. Okay.
So, question for you about Steve Prefontaine: Which movie portrays Steve better, Without Limits or Prefontaine? Which one captured?
I never saw either one of them.
Really?
I didn't. I didn't see either one of them. I knew the guy, so it wasn't like
True.
That's true.
That was more for people like us who didn't actually meet him.
Yeah.
He was bold.
Yes.
And we were together not only on the running side, but we were together on changing the sports side, which is why my book is so long, is because I represented myself. No agent. Tracy Sunland represented me for 1 or 2 track meets. After that, I represented myself my whole entire career. I negotiated with 15 different meet promoters on 6 continents. If they had a track meet in Antarctica, I'd have been there fighting for the ducats down there. Okay. Okay. So Prefontaine and Dwight Stones and Al Feuerbach, we were viciously trying to fight this amateur system. Sure. Okay. So that's why Steve and I had a more relationship as far as, tackling the system as well as running, as well as our running the game.
I feel like that could be an amazing story that I don't think we've seen fully told. And I feel like you would be, and obviously your book goes into a good amount of that, right, with Steven. But I feel like that could be a fun film, right? The track side and the athletes leading the charge against what the AAU was doing to track athletes in terms of how they abused you guys and kept you guys from being able to get a legitimate paycheck because, can't go over this dollar amount. Otherwise
you're an amateur.
You guys have to read the book. I got a couple 100%. Too many commas in there, but You have to read the book because no one was doing what I was doing back then. Track, okay. If I just throw out one-liners on the off the track stuff, you'll be like, you won't believe it. You won't believe the one-liner stuff the stuff that had to went through. Okay, favorite Zurich. Okay, Zurich's the greatest invitational meet in the world. Has been that way for 70 years.
Yep.
So the first time I go to Zurich, I'm meeting Andreas Brugger, who is the meet promoter, and he was on the board of directors of Swiss Credit Bank. First time we meet, 1975, I say, okay, $3,000 to run the 100 and 220, and if I lose, you don't pay me anything.
Oh, wow, okay.
That's the kind of stuff that I was doing.
So
Mr. Brugger said, I'm not as brave as you are, Steve. Okay. So we came up with a different price, like $2,500, right? Which is decent money back then. But he was so impressed with me coming with him like that, and he had never negotiated. He'd been dealing with managers.
Right.
Yeah.
That the next day, he took me to lunch and took me to Swiss Credit Bank and opened my Swiss bank account so I could hide my money.
Interesting.
Ooh. Ooh. Okay.
So then you could make money and still be an amateur.
And keep that amateur thing going.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's one. Puma and Adidas. I got so much Puma and Adidas stories. I was Puma out of high school. In 1974, the owner of Adidas flew me over to Paris for the opening of the Adidas boutique on the Champs-Élysées. And I flew over there. I was still in college where I wasn't supposed to be there. I was in San Diego State. I disappeared and did this. And me and Horst Dassler, the owner of Adidas, we got along famously. We toured. He took me for a tour of Paris, lunch on the Eiffel Tower, at the Louvre, and then at Notre Dame, and all of these things. And then we came to agreement. I started to run for Adidas. I started designing shoes for Adidas, and I had left Puma. But I was dealing directly with him. No agent, no
middleman, no nothing. No.
We developed
amazing.
Such a relationship that I don't know whether I should say about the different things that he used to do for me, because he was a randy kind of wild cat and rich. At the time, Adidas was a $6 billion company owned by 4 people.
Mm-hmm. It was massive.
4 people back then.
Wow.
Yep.
So I negotiated with him. Then in 1976, Puma did a big contract offer and brought me back to Puma, and I got injured before 76.
Mm-hmm.
I got injured at the Olympic trials. I was the favorite hands down. And Puma, the negotiations with Puma was like outrageous. I mean, they flew me over to Germany, me and Coach Brooks Johnson, God rest his soul. And I acted so rude in the meeting with Puma because I was happy with Adidas that they had to pull out a private jet to get me, Brooks, and my African girlfriend back to Amsterdam to fly back to the States. Again, dealing with the owners of these companies straight up. Yeah. So it's just so crazy. Much behind the scenes stuff. Yeah. The running stuff was 10 seconds, 20 seconds. I used to feel guilty. I remember I flew down to Australia with it'll come to me, a miler, and he looks at me and says, "Don't you feel guilty? You're out here, you're running. You just flew 5,000 miles to run for 10 seconds." And I says, "Yeah, it ain't fair.
But you know what though? You know what though? You were one of the rare people in the world that could do that, right? In general, not even just, that could run for a 10-second 100-meter. There were a handful of you that were anywhere near it, and a smaller fingerful of how many could break it, right? So it's like they were paying for the value that you were
Sure.
bringing. It's not
But
like you were going and bringing no value.
but it still had its oddity even to me. And I mentioned that in the book because I was all over the place. So the business end of it is the story within itself, you know.
100%.
It's a story within itself. The track side of it, I started off running when I was like 9 years old.
So I want to so tell me when, not just when you started, but tell me when it clicked that you wanted to be a sprinter. Because the thing with sprinters is usually sprinters have options. Distance runners are goofy and they can run distance. Sprinters are usually good athletes. They can play football, baseball, basketball, whatever the hell they want, and then they end up being really good. So when did you sit there and lock in and go, track is my thing?
I'm from the Bronx. I lived a block and a half from one of the roughest projects in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
Movies have been made about the projects near my house. So my being fast was survival. Okay. All right. That's when I found out that I was a sprinter. When I was escaping from all of the stuff that was going on in my neighborhood. Okay.
Wild.
The police department in New York, the Police Athletic League, used to come. They used to come and block the street off.
Mm-hmm.
They'd mark the street off, and they'd bring a scale, and they weigh everybody, boys and girls. In my book, I've got a picture of my number where I was 75 pounds. And we ran a sprint. Everybody was a sprinter. They ran this. That was all they did. They didn't do anything else but sprinting. So between that and playing tag and football on the street, I was always fast. Yeah. That's why my book is always speeding, because I was hyperactive to a fault. And if I hadn't found track, I'm not sure where my direction would have been, because I was very, very overly energetic. So at 9 years old, when I went to a field day at a park in New York, the park director, a gentleman, Mr. Magliari, in that green park uniform, New York park uniform, we were running across the field, just a field race. And it was the first time at 9 years old, I was running in lanes. And so the other kids were running in lanes. So we're all looking up at him, and we say, well, what do we do? And he was pretty much, okay, stay in your lane, and don't let any kid be in front of you at the finish.
Hey.
That's best advice. That is simple advice, man.
that was mine. If you saw me run all my career, it was I was getting there the last second, the last stride, the last lean, but it was very simple. Don't let the other kids be in front of you at the finish.
Hey, but you know what? Gritty. But that's great advice for someone who is 9. Like, because I feel like some coaches now can get way too technical for these kids. Like, just run fast and beat everyone. Like, it's that simple.
And so that to answer your question of when I found out pretty early in life, but you know.
I love that. So now I want you to come on to memory lane with me and tell me your favorite memories. We obviously touched on a few from, like, some of the things you did on the pro side, but give me your favorite memories from when you were young and when you started competing, and your best memories there, all the way up through your illustrious pro career.
Well, always pro career makes me laugh, but we'll get to that later.
You were a pro before pros were pros.
Yes. Oh, I got a chapter in my book on the pro thing that is just hair raising. But here we go. I was fast as a kid.
Hmm.
When I was in a freshman in high school, my high school was a very dangerous place. My high school had metal detectors in the 70s.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that didn't happen then.
Oh, we had Vander Childs High School in the Bronx. My high school was banned from playing football for the 4 years prior I got to high school because there was knife fights at the football games of my high school.
Oof.
Okay, I came from a fairly rough and ready environment. I became a sprinter. I was running. I was Eastern State champion in the 300. I was Bronx champion in the 200. I was triple jump champion in the 200 in high school. The last year as a senior, they would not let me run the 100. I was too tall.
What?
I was too tall and skinny.
Oh, okay.
I was 6'2.5" at the time and weighed 145 pounds. So I wasn't bringing any power to the event. Okay.
Right.
I was, you look at me, you're saying quarter miler. Okay. So that summer of my last year of high school, I happened to get into the Junior Olympics and I sort of snuck my way into the 100 and I ran 9,400 yards, which was the New York State record.
Yeah. You snuck your way.
Everybody looking at me in shock because I didn't look like that was anything I could do.
Yeah.
But in that race, I got into a weird kind of phenomenon where I could see the race in nanoseconds before nanoseconds was even a thing. I would get halfway through the race and I would get scared to death. There's two things that make adrenaline come around: fear and anger. And I learned that as a competitive friend. So when I was in high school, all of a sudden in the middle of this race, everything turned into slow motion. And I ran 9.4 state record in 100. Wow. I went to the Junior Olympics after that same summer, and I won the 440 yards in 48.1. And then I was recruited to go to El Paso.
Yeah.
I went to the University of Texas, El Paso with some great international athletes, and finally, to get good weather. I don't think anybody can realize what it's like to run Van Cortlandt Park muddy dirt track. If you saw an asphalt track in New York, it was like hallelujah. Okay, so it was and it was cold. Yeah, and the season didn't get you guys are back east. You know how it is.
It could be Jersey.
It could be freezing in May. Okay, so I learned to run in all terrain, all weather, all tracks, going out of New York into El Paso with a brand new tartan track. Oof. I was there with Coach Wayne Vandenberg, who was a brilliant, brilliant coach and dear friend to this day. And he said, "You're the quarter miler of the team." We had a bunch of sprinters from Jamaica, Trinidad, and I started training with these guys. And we're running like 21-second repeat 200s when 21 seconds was almost my personal best.
Right. Yeah,
Jesus. Was my personal best. So just getting dragged along with those guys in seriously hot weather to be training in December in Texas. Oh my God, I almost had an orgasm.
Now, what was that adjustment like? Now, because obviously, we get heat up here in the Northeast in summer, but we get that humidity, that really, really thick, humid heat. What was the heat in Texas like in comparison?
198 degrees, dry air. Just as dry as you could be. Okay. So I wound up doing the stuff that a sprinter does. I was running the 100. I was running the 200. I was running the 400. And then a couple of guys failed off the team. We had a time trial in December. They let me run the 100. I ran 9.2, win-aided.
Jesus.
After that, I ran. So my freshman year, I ran 9.2, and then we had some very serious dual meets. I had a dual meet against USC with Don Quarry
Oh, yeah.
and with Willie Deckard and that great sprint crew.
Mhm.
And they sort of looked down at me and other athletes in El Paso because, you know, I was unknown freshman. I didn't look like I was anything. You know, I was still skinny.
Yep.
And I won the 100 and the 200. I beat Don Quarry. I ran 20.3.
Wow. Wow.
And they didn't know who I was or nothing. It was a shock.
I love it.
I ran 45.7 a week before that, which was the school record. And then we had our WAC championship. At the WAC championship, I ran 20.2 in the qualifying rounds. I was kind of foolish back then. But I ran under 20 world record in the 400 the next day.
Wow.
Then I ran 44.9 400 meters, 45.2 440 yards. The next day I pulled my hamstring. I was picked as a freshman to make the team in the 100, 200, or the 400, and I got hurt.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking, pulled hamstring. I suffered that whole summer. I watched Ray Robinson and Eddie Hart missed the Olympic final in the 100.
Yep.
At 72, I was screaming at the television. I had lost to Ray Robinson, one of my rare defeats that year, where Ray Robinson and I at the Penn Relays had a photo finish. And we had a photo finish in the 100, and I had just ran 46.2 on a relay leg and walked across and had to run against him in the 100. So I was confident. I was confident that I could get him.
Yeah.
So needless to say, Borzov winning, he became my arch rival and arch enemy.
I love that. I love that mentality, and I feel like we need more and more of it, right? It's like I now have a target, period. Like I see what happened there. That is my target, and I love that. And I think we need more of that, not only from the sprints. Like I actually love the fact that, you know, Kung Fu Kenny hates Noah Lyles. I'm okay with that. I love the fact that Letziel Taboho is like, you know, I don't talk mess while he's talking mess. That's fine, right? I enjoy all that mix up. But you know, I think
it's good for business.
It's great
good for
business. And I think we need more of that. Like, I don't want to see Sha'Carri and TT Terry hugging each other. I know they're friends. I want to see them hating each other. Like, I think we need more of that.
Well, I've got a specific thing against Borzov that is sort of hard to bring up in its entirety. But my uncle was in a Negro League, and they refused to let him play. And so they instilled upon me, my uncles, it's like, don't let a white guy beat you doing nothing. Okay. That was one part of it with Borzov. But the other part of it was, I was raised in the 60s. I was hiding under my desk for the Russian nuclear threat.
Soviet USA.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. With, you know, those alarms going off, and we having to hide under our desk in the nuclear threat, and all of these areas we had to learn duck and cover. You guys are too young to know what that was.
I didn't know any of that. Nope.
So I had a deep hate for the Russians, straight up, just from it being a national thing that they were trying to kill us with nuclear weapons.
Sure.
And I'd imagine it was both, right? And I imagine Borzov also didn't like you very much because you were that stupid American. And we
had that communist democracy, but we also had that steroid clean athlete story going.
Yup. Yep.
It was layered between he and I.
Mm-hmm.
So when so in 72, I was hurt. I put myself back together. I transferred out of El Paso to San Diego State. I was in San Diego State for a couple of months. I didn't really train well, so I wasn't running my 400s as much, but I was still a decent 100, 200 guy.
Yeah.
My second 100 that year, I ran like 9.6 into a strong headwind at the Coliseum in LA. And then I ran 9.1 at Fresno on a dirt record, John Carlos record. But I was way at that record at 23, 25. I was just 19 years old.
Wow.
So my life changed after that with that world record. I won the national championship 100 and 200 in 1973, which hadn't been done since 1960 with Ray Norton.
Mm-hmm.
And which is still not only that I doubled in the national, but I was the youngest to do it, and I think that record still stands, someone told me.
That's
After
awesome.
that, we went on a fantastic world tour with Prefontaine, with Dwight Stones, with Al Feuerbach, and we went on a tour. Germany, we're in Olympic Stadium a year late. Germany, Italy against Minea,
Mm-hmm.
and then Soviet Union against Borzov, and then we went to Senegal, Africa. So here I am, 19 years old, traveling into their countries, okay, with no idea of what I was doing.
Sure.
It just stayed with that, don't let the kid be in front of you at the finish. Keep it simple.
Now, at that point, were you and Steve right around the same age? Because I know Prefontaine had a lot of success as a freshman and sophomore in college.
He was 2 years earlier,
Yeah.
because I was watching him when I was in high school.
Yeah.
And he was tearing the place up then,
Yep.
you know?
Yep. Well, he
So-
translated from
so-
a miler his freshman year to a 5K guy, because miler, he was just a little bit under 4 and getting beaten pretty good. And then that's when Bowerman was like, hey, you're slow for college. Go run a 5K. And he did.
his high school, what he was running in high school was very impressive,
Yeah, it
because
was.
I
Oh my
was
God.
in track and field news, and I'm 16 years old, and he's doing his thing. So Pri and I, so we traveled that world tour together.
Mhm.
In Italy. The press was Pietro Minea, because he had gotten the bronze medal in 72.
Yep.
Oh, they were hammering me with Pietro. Pietro's going to kill you. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're that. I'm like 19. I'm like, oh, okay. And, in New York, we had a little friction with the Italians any old way.
A little bit.
So
It was like the perfect storm for you.
yo,
It's like,
East Coast guys, you know what I'm talking
listen,
about, right?
I am Italian, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, all right. So I know all the slurs, okay? I was a moolie.
I don't know if we can say that on YouTube, Steve. Oh my God.
So I'm there, and Pietro, there's 75,000 people in the stadium in Torino. I just decided just to run the 200, nothing else.
Yep.
And Pietro entered the stadium, 75,000 people. Manea. They had to almost go to the crowd to say, shut up, let's get the race going. So here I'm in my shorts, with my hands on the track, and they are screaming his name. And right at that moment, it was like, are you going to run for your life, or are you going to be hateful on them Italians? Which one? I chose hateful on them Italians from my Bronx days. And he ran a fantastic curve. Pietro was a great athlete, I made a lot of money and a lot of fame in Italy because of him. God rest his soul also. And I caught him 40 yards from the tape. I turned around and looked at him. The crowd went berserk. And the head of the Italian Federation walked up, put his business card in my hand and said, "We love you. Anytime you want to come back to Italy, you can come back. Just call me."
That's great.
So again, as I mentioned,
looking back at that real quick, how cool of a moment was that? Because obviously, like, track and field in Europe's a lot bigger than it is in America. I mean, even at its peak, it's much bigger. So how cool was it? Like, I know obviously your head's down, you're getting ready to prepare, but 75 chanting a name, you're probably feeling the ground move a little as you're there. Can you look at, like, obviously in that moment, you're just like, yo, screw this guy, I'm going to beat him. But now looking back at it, how cool was that to be a part of, even win or loss at that point, right? Obviously you won, but just that moment had to just be so freaking cool.
Again, I'm 19.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't thinking cool. And in my book, like I said, I'm saying always speeding, because it had gotten into, if I got angry or if I got scared, things would get into that slow motion aspect, that in the zone kind of thing. That's where my book is always speeding, is because that was sort of like, I was hyper. I was always hyper. I'm hyper now. Look at you talking to me. I'm 72 years old. I was always hyper, okay? It never slowed down. So how I felt was, you step into the stadium, and when I coach athletes, I try to bring this point to them. Athletes, so many guys say, I step in the stadium, I get scared, and I can't compete. You have to realize that adrenaline comes from fear or anger. So I step in the stadium and I didn't know which one it was going to be sometime. I'm anger, I'm going to bite this guy if he comes next to me. Or I'm scared, I'm running for my life. And so, down on my fingers, you want to know what happened. The last minute, I got angry because the crowd was so much behind him, okay? But so that was that. I signed more autographs that day than I had in my entire life. I had Italian fans, which was something, I didn't have that in New York. Okay.
So did that translate to the Italians in New York, though? Did getting that fan base back in the home country actually, because there were still a lot of connections, right? Those Italians in New York were still very close to family that they had in the homeland and things like that. Did that kind of translate back home?
Until when I retired from running, I was still walking in Italian restaurants and saying, "Oh yeah, I used to beat Pietro Manea," and they used to, I was in mob restaurants in New York, okay, and they were like, "Get out of here! Hey,
you ain't beating up Pietro."
you know how y'all act, okay?
I do. Yes, yeah, we are very loud.
And then they would find out I was telling the truth.
And then they loved you.
And I was treated like a made man in a lot of Italian restaurants. Yeah. When I retired, I wound up working in the liquor business. I was with Moet Hennessy when I retired. So I had a lot of Italian restaurants. So I lived on my Italian reputation with Pietro for a very, very long time. Very, very long time. So yeah, it translated back home too.
That's awesome.
So this is 73. So you can see how long my book is.
You were good for race relations back in New York City when it came to that. You were bringing the people together, warring people.
I tried my best. Okay. So like I said, everybody was a paisan after that, I got you.
You're speaking my language. I feel like I'm home right now.
So after that, we went to the Soviet Union. To go from Torino with beautiful Sophia Loren looking women, fantastic Tuscan food, Ferraris everywhere.
Yep.
Me and Prefontaine got drunk. I had to hold him back because he had the hots for one of the waitresses. That's how we was, okay? And we fell asleep on the plane. I think it was a couple seats from me. We got off the plane and it was like we fell into a black and white movie. It was like the Twilight Zone in Minsk, Soviet Union.
Really?
Gray cars. It looked like World War I. Gray buildings. Nobody was dressed in anything colorful. Everybody was hiding. Everybody, so many people with bad teeth. I hadn't seen that many bad teeth like ever in the Soviet Union. The hotel we stayed in was like a broke down Holiday Inn at best. KGB following us around. Okay? So, press conference, me and Borzov. Oh, it's a big thing. I'm talking about, this was long before the movie, but this was a Rocky movie moment. Okay? This was USA versus Russia. Capitalism versus democracy. Doped athletes against young clean athlete. This was black-white.
Yeah,
This was
very much
at
so.
every level. And I got to be honest with you, black people was upset at 72 when Borzov won in both of those races, and people felt it was kind of shady that Eddie Hart and Ray Robinson didn't make it to the finals, and that Larry Black got put in lane 2, which was the worst lane on the track in the 200. So there was a sort of undercurrent where, okay, Steve, you got to get this guy.
Yep. Yep.
You got to get this guy for all of us.
Yeah,
So-
for the United States, for black folk, for everyone. It was for everyone involved.
Communism.
Yeah,
And don't forget, I didn't finish telling you, I was hiding under the desk
Yep.
just so this. I'm 19. So since before that, at 12 or 13, I was hiding under the desk.
Yep.
So it wasn't that long ago for me.
Now, did you
So
have
here we
any
are.
like contact with any like U.S. officials on how to handle anything? Was like the government at all involved, because the relations were still incredibly tense at that point?
We had a meeting. The team leader was the great woman long jumper Willie White. They told us, don't touch anything, don't steal anything, don't do anything.
Don't cause an international incident.
Don't spit on the street. Don't do anything. We got that, okay? To give a quick one, we walked through the town. We were handing out T-shirts and hats and pins. And when we got back to the room the next morning, the T-shirts and the hat and the pins that we gave away was folded up back in front of our door.
Wow.
KGB went and got it back from them people.
Nothing Western.
Serious
Nothing
oppression.
Western inside of there. Nope. They weren't allowing it.
So Borzov decided he was just going to run the 200 and the relay. Fine. I'm anchoring the relay. He's anchoring the relay. We had a press conference before. You know, I'm from New York. I'm a kid from the Bronx, okay? And, you know, we show off a lot. And there's a lot of crap talking. And, you know, I grew up on the Rucker tournament basketball. Everybody was showing off and all kind of looking at each other, pointing and all that. So I'm anchoring the relay, and I'm thinking, well, you know, we're going to be so far in front because our sprinters are so good.
Yep.
I'm not even I'm not even going to see him. Well, we bobbled the stick pass on the first couple of legs, and I was
Traditional Americans.
Still do it now.
I was 5 meters behind him.
Wow.
It all switched to the hunt. It was kill. Everything went into slow motion. I caught him in 6 strides. I took the baton and changed it back and forth like it was basketball and looked over at him and crossed the finish line. The crowd went crazy. Not crazy good, crazy bad.
Yeah,
I'm talking about whistling is booing. You got 50,000 people whistling in a stadium that's got 2 pictures of Lenin on both sides of the stadium. The KGB guys in the trench coats looking like Boris Betanov on Rocky and Squirrel. Okay.
We're not in Kansas anymore, man.
Escorted me off the track.
Wow.
Okay. They were throwing the programs from the stadium and everything else, right? The U.S. team was going crazy. They were just, you know, it was that kind of Rocky moment, you know. And Borzov didn't run the next day, and he avoided me. And even in his book, he wrote how, you know, he had respect for the fact that I had that stride, but the speed also. So,
did you guys ever end up patching anything up post career in terms of how, obviously, you know, Russia's doing whatever its thing now, but the relations weren't as tense for a little while, right? Like, we've always been adversaries, but there was for a little while, especially in the 90s, a better understanding between the two countries. Did you guys ever patch up anything as athletes with mutual respect at all, or it's always just tell some stories and that's about it, as close as it gets?
It wasn't about that. It wasn't about patching nothing up. You know, I retired in '84, and the East Germans and the Russians were still doping everybody up.
Oh, God, yeah. Absolutely.
It was still adversarial. There was still dirt in the game. There was seeing the Russian and East German women.
Oh, the East German women were crazy. Yeah.
With Cro-Magnon foreheads from the steroids and pimples on their back and the teeth exploding. So it was still rough and ready back then. It was no, there was no love coming up at that time. Okay, you know?
Yeah.
So after that, I tried to leave the tour because I was so unbelievably famous from that one relay. I won the 200 the next day, but all over the world, the picture of me looking at him was like everywhere. So I tried to leave the team and go to Europe, but they wouldn't let me leave the team, which started off my battle with the AAU because I knew they were letting other athletes leave. They forced me to go to Africa, which was a beautiful trip, and so I enjoyed that, and it was a good experience, but it was a lot of stuff going on. And like I said, this is just year one. This is just 73. Okay.
Yeah.
You can imagine I retired at 84. I had so much stuff in between. But let me give you the next 1973 story. And then you can ask me something. So I had beat Don Quarry every time we had met. But Don Quarry was a god in his country. I'm talking about a god. Everybody knew him. I'm from New York. The Jamaicans in New York was like they wanted to take me out. They wanted to, shadow me in New York, okay, because of Quarry. So I'm home after the season is over. It's October, and I get an invitation to come to Jamaica in October. And I'm like, oh man, I finished the season, but I want to go to the Caribbean. So I decided to go.
Good excuse, right? To get over there, get into some nice weather in October, right?
There we go. But I was in San Diego at the time, so it was a beautiful place either way. So I go over, and in the airport, there's this big poster of me and Quarry. Will it happen again? Olympic rerun or some crap like that. I got the poster in my book. And I'm like, oh, crap. I just walked into an ambush. He's laying a trap for me. I'm tired. I started school. I haven't been training for a month, whatever. I get there and I say, okay, the meet promoters are like this and the USA team. I'm like, okay, forget it. I'll just run the 100. I won't run the 200. Okay. I'm not in shape for it. Okay. I was very close with some of my Rastafari buddies when I was at El Paso. A sprinter called Mike Frey. He was an Olympic finalist in '68 in the 200. Mike is long dreadlocks. He's taking me up in the hills. I'm with the Rastas, smoke is everywhere, ganja flying all over the place. I'm up in the hills with Mike, okay? And Mike says to me, Mun, how much they pay you to be here? I'm like, man, I'm with the USA team, man. And, I'd only got paid once in Europe before this. He says, Mun, they've been setting this up for months. For months, Mun. They've been setting it up, Mun. Ask them for $5,000. I'm like, $5,000?
Okay.
I'm like, I'm with the AAU team, so I don't even know how I could get around it, all right?
Yeah.
So I am warming up, and 4 of the military police come and get me and escort me to the Prime Minister's booth at the stadium. Walk me up the stadium steps. I was tired just from walking up the steps. I knew I was in trouble for the race. I get to Michael Manley. Air-conditioned booth. They open it up. He's there in a blue political suit, perfect gray hair. He says, I understand that you are not running the 200. The people have come from the coast, from the hills, from the valleys to come and see you run Owlman Quarry. I apologize. I says, I'm not in good form. I started school, blah, 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 blah. He says, is there something we can do to make it better for you to run?
As a matter of fact,
I'll say, I'm getting ready to lean in and tell him, I don't know if I was going to say the 5,000, but I was getting ready to give him a number. So I'm getting ready to lean in almost to whisper it to him. An Asian guy jumps in the middle, says, I'll handle this part. And I shake the Prime Minister's hand. He says, we'll delay the 200 so you can get a bit more preparation. And they whisk me out of the Prime Minister's skybox.
Handle this part. So what did they handle?
So we're walking down the steps. I grab the guy on the shoulder. I say, I want $2,500 for this. I figured I cut Mike's. I said I couldn't go back to the rosters and not say I wasn't coming strong for something.
Right.
So I said $2,500. He looks at me and he's not happy, but he shakes my hand. I go out there, I run miserable. I run 20.9. I think I got 4th. I run like 10.6. Okay, it's terrible. Okay, so next day, all the athletes are leaving. It's the USA team. Everybody's gone. I'm the only one left in the hotel. The athletes. I'm like, okay, when are they going to come and get me? Where's this guy? Where's this little Asian guy who's obviously handling the money? So I'm there for 2 days. Nobody coming around. I walk down to the maitre d' to the concierge of the hotel. I always carried a suit. I put on my suit. I had my ticket and my passport in my pocket. And I asked them, where does the Prime Minister stay?
You asked them that.
I asked them where the Prime Minister stays. And they looked at me funny. The guy who was the concierge, putting people in the taxi. And he says he stays at Jamaica House. I said, is that far from here? They said, no, it's not far from here. So I get in a taxi and I go to Jamaica House, not knowing what I was going to do. I pull up to Jamaica House, beautiful, colonial, looking like Buckingham Palace.
You're ready to start an international incident over $2,500.
Looking like 10 Downing Street, okay? And they have it, classic British architecture. Mm-hmm. They have 2 guardhouses, and they got the gate, and the the Jamaica House is like 70 yards down this thing. I step out the taxi. I didn't know what I was gonna do. Didn't know what I was gonna do. I walk up to the guards. They're dressed in white, crisp outfit. They got the little pit helmet. They're looking perfect. And they got that look like, at Buckingham Palace where they're not supposed to speak.
Mm-hmm.
They had that look. I walk up to them and I said, well, I heard in a James Bond movie the ass was the queen in residence. So I tried to be classy. I walked up, is the prime minister in residence? And they looked at me, what is your business? What is your business? I said, is the prime minister here? What is your business? And I said to them, my name is Steve Williams, and I ran last night, and I had some business with the prime minister. I didn't even get to finish. They changed completely. Oh, Mon Ross Claude, Quarry Mashua boy. He beat you like a drum. He killed you, boy. They completely different guys now.
They start destroying you.
They are track friends. They are slamming me. Okay, they are like dogging me straight up in front of Jamaica House. They said, get back in the taxi, go back to the hotel. I got back to the hotel. I said, let me pack. I'm going to get screwed on this one.
Mm-hmm.
20 minutes later, knock on the door. The little Chinese guy comes there with a little bank bag with 2,200 Jamaican dollars because Jamaican dollar was almost equal to Canadian dollars back then. He's screaming at me, how dare you go to the prime minister about me? How dare you go to the prime minister about me? He rushes, throw me in a taxi, and I catch the last flight out of Kingston.
Hey.
But you got money.
So you see how the business aspect of it, right, got to be, here I am negotiating with the prime minister to run at 200 meters. I went to Jamaica up until 1980, and every year I was forcing them to be at least $2,500.
Wow.
Because the price had been set by the prime minister.
I mean, we could go. We have to have you back on to continue your story because your story is so much. And between now and then, I'm 100% buying your book and reading your book 100%. Because this is too fascinating in terms of track history, which I am a fan of in terms of we need to get this. I'm happy you have it memorialized in a book, but man, we do have to have a filmmaker make something about this because it just seems like I don't know what actor we would want to find that would have your charisma, right? Because there's obviously a charisma factor, a confidence and a charisma, which it seems very uniquely in that 1970s athlete, because I feel like the way, from Dave might agree, the way Steve Prefontaine was portrayed, especially in Without Limits, that brashness, that charisma, that, take no shit attitude, seemed very 1970s elite athlete of that time in track. And it seems like you 100% encompass that. And it's
I'm embarrassed that the sport hasn't progressed with all the wild stuff I was doing to get paid. Okay? That they say very often that our ancestors had courage and no resources, and the kids today have resources and no courage.
Agreed.
Okay? There's no courage here, okay? There's no courage to change this thing. I got stories about I had to blackmail the owner of Adidas, okay, over some stuff he did with my Puma contract in 76. 77 World Cup, they had created the World Cup, and I had no negotiation with Puma at the time. I was the 100-meter guy. I'm meeting with the owner of Puma because I was a Puma guy at the time. He's drunk, arm and dazzler, banging on the bar. Steve, we have no negotiations, but bring it here. Bring the gold medal here. So he's drunk. He paid me $30,000 in 76 as part of my contract. I grab him by the hand. I shake his hand. I says, okay, I'll bring it here. But just like last year, 30,000. He says, yes, yes, and he's grabbing my hand. I shake his hand, I repeat, just like last year. But I don't say the number the second time, right? I just say, just like last year. He's drunk, he agrees to it. Okay? Here we are, World Cup, national team is in with Adidas. I refuse. I wear a Puma suit. The AAU officials are chasing me around in the stadium because I'm breaking the rules, not wearing a team uniform. I'm wearing my college shorts. I'm not doing anything that's supposed to be done. And I'm the anchor man for our relay. I was missing practice. I was just gangstering them seriously at the World Cup. So I win the 100 against the East German, Eugene Ray, who was massively steroided up like the rest of them. I win it. Then we run the world record in the relay.
Yeah.
We ran 38:03. We ran 37. Because we only ran one race, no heats, no semis, no finals. So I get upset when I see the relay and you guys can't get it done. And we got it done in one race.
I mean, the American 4x1 men is one of the biggest travesties. That the fact that too, it's the top guys typically, like you were a part of the sport. There is always going to be the haves who have the money to do things and everyone else that barely is scraping by. Typically our four on the relay have the money and the resources to call each other up, hate or not. I don't care if Kenny and Noah hates each other. Hit each other up and go, listen, we know we're about to be on the 4x1 on Worlds, Olympics, whatever it is. Let's go meet up in Jamaica for a month, 2 weeks, whatever, and work some handoffs. Let's get there. Let's call them up. Let's get 6 guys. Let's do it. Let's go do it. If they do it once for a little bit, they'll have it down.
I'm sorry. We used to put together relays in the parking lot in Europe.
Ugh.
4 of us. We mark off the thing, or we use verbal commands. Go, stick. Go, stick. So to me, it's I can't even watch it without spitting up my beer while I'm watching them every year. Okay, so we had the world record. I win the 100. I got $30,000 for a 10-second one race.
That's amazing. Nice. That's a good payday.
Highest, most expensive 100 run without question.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of good meets at the end of the year. I go home. It's November. I'm calling up Puma. Nobody's returning my call. I'm like, how are you going to enforce this? It was he and I in a bar. He was obviously drunk, arm and dazzler. How am I going to get this? Well, it's getting near my birthday. My birthday is November 13th, and I was like, okay.
Hey, almost happy birthday.
Thank you. I put on a good suit, and I went and I bought a one-way ticket with Lufthansa for $550. I was knocking on Puma's door at 7 o'clock in the morning. The secretary says, Steve, why are you here? What's going on? And I'm like, I'm trying to figure out again, how do you play this? Again, personality and charm is one thing, but forceful is another, okay? Mm-hmm. So you got to combine it all because you got no law that's, it's just all on trust. It's a handshake. It's what somebody agrees to, okay? Yep. So they tell me, the boss is in a meeting. So why don't you go to the hotel? No, I wasn't only stuck in a hotel. I said, well, I'll stay in the factory. I'll work with the tech guys because I was designing shoes with them. I was collecting equipment, sending it to my mom and whatever. So 6 o'clock, they say, oh, Mr. Dazzle, we'll see you now. I walk into the conference room. He's got like 6 guys. They're having a big meeting, papers on the table, everything else. He sees me, Armin sees me, he comes from behind the desk, he shakes my hand, he puts his hand on my shoulder. Steve, what are you doing here? What's going on? So I got to decide, do I charm him or do I try to scare him into this? What do I do? So I said to him, Armin, you don't remember? We talked about the World Cup. You said bring the gold medal here, and you're going to pay me same as last year, $30,000. All the executives that are sitting there, all of a sudden, they're speaking in German, looking at Armin like he was crazy. Armin's face drops, and he remembers. He sits down at the desk, and they hand him the big checkbook. He's suffering. All the executives are looking. They're speaking in German. They're mumbling to each other. They're saying, it was just one race. It wasn't even an Olympics. $30,000, which is probably more than all of them was getting for salary back then.
Probably, yeah. Holy cow.
$30,000 for one race. So Armin gets the checkbook, and he's filling out the check, and it gets to the point where he has to sign his name. And the year before, there was some drama where the owner of Adidas had written me a personal check.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another story altogether. We'll have to get it another time. Sure. So here it is. He's afraid to sign his name to the check. He don't want his name on another check to Steve Williams that Steve Williams might use to blackmail somebody, which is what I did in 76. He signs it. He doesn't sign the check. He hands it to one of the other executives. They sign the check. He tears the check out, and he's pushing it across the conference table, and he got his finger on it. And he says, with his heavy German accent, when I come back, I want to be a sprinter that makes this kind of money in 10 seconds. And he's got his finger on the check. And I'm trying to pull the check from under his finger, right? And I'm pulling the check from under his finger, and I say, when I come back, I want to be a benevolent owner of a shoe company. He moves his finger. I pull the check. I shake his hand. I run straight to the airport. I spent the night in the airport.
That's great. Hey, got your money.
You did what you had to do there. So
most expensive 100 meters for a long time. Okay. So we have to do this again, gentlemen.
So quickly, I want to get your opinion though, because you touched a little on the current state of track and field. I thought that, Dave and I thought that not this past Worlds, but the Olympics and the Worlds before that was one of the more dominant Team USAs we saw, men's and women's side, top to bottom in track and field. Everyone was clicking on all levels, whether it was sprints, throws, jumps, mid distance, long distance. This past Worlds, I think everyone was friggin' tired. I think we took a minor step back, but still very good performance. We led in medal count by far, right? How do you feel we are in the current state of track and field, both in America, men's and women, and internationally as a sport?
As you can hear, the kind of pushing the envelope stuff that I was doing that you've only gotten a small amount of, that I'm happy to see that they're paying the kids more money. I'm happy to see that there's other money coming into the game. The Astlos with the win, I applaud that fantastically. Michael Johnson and him trying to do the Grand Slam, his mistake was he should have just done one of them. Just one. If he had made it a 3-day event in one location, just do one of them. Prove you can get it done. Not get stretched out and overextend yourself, okay? But he's a champion for trying to do it. He's a champion for talking somebody into putting that kind of money into track and field. So I applaud him and wish I could sit down and have a chat with him. But I stay so far away from the sport. I think the American team is looking fantastic. I think the sport, everybody, great rivalries, the women rivalries, Sydney and the girl from
Femke Bol.
Netherlands, Femke Bol.
Bowl. I think that's fantastic. Melissa Jefferson, wow, she was on it. I was loving Sha'Carri Richardson because she brought flair to it. Okay.
Love Sha'Carri here.
Um, uh, 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 um, Noah is a great sprinter. That kind of regularity on the 200 is I'm good at. I love it. I love it. The fact that he has what I believe is missing sometime in other sprinters is that he knows to own the last 10 meters.
Yep.
No matter what, you have to own the last 10 meters. You have to have that animal at the last 10 minutes. You have to have that I'm running for my life or I'm running to kill you last 10 meters, and Noah has that.
Yep.
You know, some of the antics in the beginning of the race, I'm for everybody that brings attention to the sport. And the Jamaicans are always coming around, always got that history with the sprints. The Jamaican women, I loved Pocket Rocket, Shelly
Ann.
She's an animal.
She's an animal. I tell you who also impresses me is the quarter miler, the little girl, Nasser.
Nasser, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Nasser.
Oh my goodness! Now you running a sprint and you're that short. That's something. But you running a 400. The way she runs, brave, fearless. With them, she's obviously taking more steps than everybody else.
Sure.
And you look at that final where obviously Sid won, but you have Nasser and Paulino that if there's 5 more meters, Paulino probably catches Sid because she was coming hard at
Paulino was out there in no man's land in lane 8 and ran a hell of a race. Okay.
Yep.
So the state of Americans track and field, I think, is on the uptick. I wish we would get more coverage. I wish we would get more diverse investors as sponsors.
Yes.
Edwin Moses and I in 1980, through my fame in Italy, I got approached by a company called Alessi. Alessi owned Roba di Capa. I was with the president of Roba di Capa, me and Edwin Moses, in 1980, where he asked us, I want to be the sponsor for the United States team. Can you help me? That's another story we'll get into later.
We got to have like a slew of podcasts. We got to have a series with you, Steve.
Edwin Moses and I worked our focus was, as far as pushing the financial envelope, was we should be like NASCAR.
Yep.
We should have
sponsors,
different companies.
Yep, decals
on our uniform. We should have that.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay, we can have multi-sponsors. So in 1980, because of the boycott, we slipped in and was wearing Alessi clothes and Adidas and Puma shoes, where we had opened it up where the shoe companies was allowing multi-sponsorship, multi-endorsement.
Yeah.
And so this was 1980.
That's great. Yep.
So how the hell that they're not thinking about this should be multi. We should have badges on it and everything.
We've had people on our show actually talk about that, saying like, why can't I get my own sponsorship from my own local car place or something like that? Who wants to give me $5,000 to wear something? Like, why is that not allowed? It's so like elitist.
There's gatekeeping is crazy in track and field. The gatekeeping
but you've got to shoot. You got the shoe. I got a Nike story that we'll tell later, but the shoe companies dominate so strong
Mhm.
that there's not even track clubs anymore.
It's crazy.
Remember, there used to be track
Big time
clubs.
ones. Yep.
The shoe companies suffocated the track
Yeah,
clubs
now,
by
well,
you squoze them completely out.
Hmm.
Completely. Okay. Nike makes it. You wear us, you don't wear nothing else. Puma and Adidas, you wear something, you wear nothing else. Nike was doing some crazed marketing where they had all the sprinters wearing purple uniforms. You couldn't even tell who was who at the finish line. Remember that year that everything was the same color
yeah,
from
I mean,
Nike?
it's like
They still do that a lot. They
it's
still do. You'll have people from different teams
yes,
wearing the
it,
same Nike uniform
it's
because that's the
crazy.
fit of the year, and
Yeah,
you have no idea if they're running for one running club, another running club, and
you're
it's so
But,
difficult to tell.
it is like
but
especially
from
for a
a
person.
spectator point of view,
That's my
you're
point.
watching you're
Yep.
watching a bunch of guys leaning at the finish line, and you're seeing purple, 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 purple. What the hell?
Yeah, I was.
As a spectator,
Yeah,
you
so
can't even
Confusion.
differentiate.
yeah,
Yep.
you know what? Like I mean, I know the athletes, but if I watch track meet with my fiance or my kids, they have no. They're like, why is everybody on the same team? I'm like, none of them are on the same team. It's
Yeah.
very
They have
it's
no
so
clue.
confusing for a person who has no idea what is going on. And we do that in track all the time. We make it way too difficult for a person who doesn't know track to have any comprehension of what is going on.
So I
We make
want to
it way too hard.
quickly, real quick, I want to jump in. We have a comment, Eric Palencia saying, stumbled upon this randomly. Incredible. Eric, thank you for stumbling upon us. I'm happy that you're sticking around and watching. Steve's obviously has amazing stories, and hopefully you jump in and you follow us because we have plenty of guests that are,
Everybody
you know, not that honestly, they don't have as many stories as Steve, and I freaking love them, but I love all of our guests. We have amazing
Yeah.
guests. So Eric, thank you so much. But Steve, man,
All of
it's
this is
amazing.
because I represented myself.
Yes, sir.
That my book would have been half the size. I tell in the book, I say, thank you for listening to my long stories about short events. The behind the scenes was dramatic at every turn, and that I got person to person stuff on everybody. Everybody.
We're gonna have you back
Because
on. Absolutely.
100%.
So
100%. We're going to have you back on.
so to wrap it up I think it's a prosperous for the American track and field. I hope we can get some more money up in there. I think we can get some more creativity involved in there. I have an event that I have put together with one of the very, very old track promoting guys, Don Franken, whose dad was Al Franken, who was one of the top meet promoters. And we got to get some glamour, some specialization. You got the most beautiful. You look at the woman's pole vault.
Oh my God.
Is Chanel not supposed to be dressing them girls up in the pole vault?
I'd imagine.
You got the triple jumping women, long jump women. It's not Victoria's Secrets who just put the basketball player in the Victoria's Secret show.
And there was a
track-
gymnast in there. There was a gymnast as well inside there.
Are the track women not beautiful enough to be sponsored by other people? What's the lack of
Dave, he's
imagination?
speaking my language, right?
I'm so old in the sport for me to sit up there and think that what I'm thinking is an original idea. What the hell?
Listen,
What the
you're
hell?
speaking my language. I have said forever. We have Tara Woodall Davis, we have Gabby Thomas, we have Sha'Carri, we have Sydney, we have all these beautiful women. And then also on the other side, Mondo Duplantis ain't a bad looking dude. Jakob Ingebrigtsen is, we have people that Josh Kerr is a decent looking guy. You could promote looks matter. Looks matter.
Let's go with what we know. The women. Okay, we can bring the funny looking guys in later, right? Look at the pole vaulters. They're so beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, listen, I agree.
Wow, they're so beautiful. And you got them stuck in a monolithic uniform with no glamour. They're
Hey,
glamorous.
listen, we had on a guest, Elena Bruckner. She is a discus thrower and everything, and she goes and she throws the discus. She'll because she's not signed nothing. She goes in and she'll rock a tutu. She'll wear a skirt. She's unique. She rocks some fun stuff. She brings fun to the sport, and she stands out. And she's one of the top 10 women discus throwers in our country for the past few years. So we need more of that flavor. Where, like you said, we're dressing our ladies up. We're putting people up and making them look good for the events as well. I agree with that.
I'm going to say this, and then because my imagination gets carried away because I love the sport, and I'm so upset that all the stuff I did to move it forward, y'all not moving forward enough. You're not moving forward enough. Frank Shorter had a clothing line.
You did?
I followed Frank Shorter and had a clothing line for a while. I had Puma. I was making promotional clothes for Puma during my contract years. That the money I told you I got from Armin, where I had to pull the check from under his finger, I took $10,000 of that, and me and Brooks Johnson created a clothing company in Florida making Lycra spandex when Lycra spandex wasn't in the picture then. So where my head had been, they're not doing nothing.
No.
How could I have that way back then and they're not doing anything?
Yeah.
They're
Steve, we couldn't agree with you more. We couldn't agree with you more on this show.
They're not pushing it. Also, and I'm finishing. After I retired, I worked for Moet Hennessy for a couple of years, 4 years, and then I was the speed improvement coach for the New York Mets. I was speed improvement coach for the New York Jets as a New York boy. They loved it, right?
Can you please help the Jets out again as a Jets fan? Can you please go back and help them? They need all the help.
I bleed for the Jets. Okay. I had a consulting company where I was consulting with Jerry Rice for speed improvement, with Warren Moon for speed improvement. I had a consulting company where I was going to different places. I was coaching the defensive backs at the Miami Dolphins. But when I was with the Jets, I really got to get into the NFL organization. I was involved in player personnel. I was involved in nutrition. I got to the family for the Jets was some very, very nice people to me. I really got into it. And what that taught me is if you don't have a union, if you don't have the athletes together, if you don't have the ability to say, all of us are not going to show up unless we get this or that. If you don't have the collective bargaining point of view, when I retired in '84, one of the coaches came up to me and says, man, you were like Kurt Flood, man. You were trying to push it where everybody would get paid. If you don't have the unity, it's like I was over in Europe in 1980, and I said, hey, there was 4 of us Americans in the 100. I said, hey, guys, let's say we're going to boycott today. Let's say we're not going to show up and see how much they pay us. Yeah. I'm sitting in the hotel room, everybody else at the track.
Not everyone has that mentality, right? It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's not easy, but it's what's necessary sometimes to move that needle. So we need more people like you in general, I think, because your mentality is what gets things done. And I appreciate it, brother.
We'll do this again.
100%.
Hopefully I'll figure it out. I'll figure out the tech side, and most definitely let's do it again. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Get my book.
Here,
Yes,
listen,
get
no,
the
we
book.
don't got look. Hey, we don't got to do all that. Look, boom, we're back up here. Get the book.
I appreciate that.
Of course,
And
always speeding up here. You can buy it on
and
paperback, hardcover.
and
Go ahead.
it's on, like I said, it's on Amazon. And you know, I'm not a writer, so you might have to deal with a couple of extra commas and stuff in there.
That's all right.
The managing editor for Track and Field News, Ed Fox, his comment was the best. Oh yeah, this is an autobiography. It was definitely written by him. It's got a couple of errors in it, but it was the most fascinating story. He said, I was
That's
thoroughly
fantastic.
involved. He said, no one is talking this frank about it because nobody knew it.
Yeah, I
They
love
were
it.
running with managers and stuff. I got stories with the managers. I got stories where in Italy they were cheating at the kids who didn't understand the currency. Just every moment there was a race. There was lineup to get paid. There was a drama to get paid. There was the next place. So it was just a very interesting attempt
Sure.
to be a professional athlete.
Yeah. So
Thank
once
you, Steve.
again, he's Steve Williams. He is a man that we absolutely need to have back on. Former world's fastest man from the 1970s. That is someone that, if you want to say, is an individual who paved the way for what we at least currently have, in terms of the fact that some athletes get paid legitimate amounts of money. He's one of the individuals that especially pushed us out of the amateur system that was locking down so many Olympic athletes and causing them to not be able to make a living. So, Steve, thank you so much. Go find him on Instagram at SWillyWorld over there.
Buy the book.
Again, go buy the book, Always Speeding. I'm going to make sure I get my copy as well. I'm going to go get it. 100%.
My birthday is the 13th of November. That's 2 weeks from now. Let's do it 2 weeks. Let's do another one in 2 weeks.
I think we could do that. I think we can manage to do that. We'll talk. We will talk.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
So once again, we are talking in ovals. We appreciate everyone that watched wherever you watched from. Give us a like, share, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. And make sure that you come back next week. So everyone, we will